Okay kids, welcome back to the shop. In the last video on this vertical slider, I machined the mount and it fit pretty good. So in this video, we're going to finally get this vertical slider installed and fired up. It was a good thing that I checked this before I put the mounting bracket on. You can see I have interference here. The bolts are too long, so now we got to go cut them off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to chase the threads. I'm going to chase the threads on the bolts and the nuts, just to make it easy to install. Here's a little trick I like to do, is I put the die on the bolt before I cut it. Then I cut it and I just remove the die. And as you remove the die, it cleans up the threads. This pays dividends. Finally, I get to install this thing back onto the mill. Alright, I set the slaughter onto the mill and I'll use the table to raise it up into place. This thing weighs about 150 pounds. I should be able to hee-haw this thing into place. You see I have the ratchet strap there just to stabilize it. Alright, this is where the aggravation starts. Keep an eye on the bolts there. You know, this is slotted, so gravity's taken over. The bolts won't stay where I need them, and they just keep falling. So I can't put the head on because the bolts won't line up. I mess around with this for probably an hour or so. Then finally, I ask for help. Sorry guys, I didn't turn the camera on. I had to have the neighbor come over and help, and when you get help, you don't worry about the camera. I'm sorry. But we, just used the table, lifted it up in, and with the extra set of hands, this lined up really easy. I threw the motor in place. It's not bolted down yet. This thing still needs to be squared up. You see it's off kilter a little bit, which I can do that, but as it stands, there it is. I'm going to bolt the motor down, get the belt adjusted, and I'll fire it up, and I'll at least show you working on the mill. Okay guys, I got my big square here, and if you look, it's off a little bit right there. Alright, so this is easy enough to do, but remember, you need to block it. See how I have those 2x4s there? Because those 4 bolts, that's all that's keeping that in place. If you don't support this, that thing will fly right down and slam into the table. Alright, there you go. This thing's working good. Now what I have to do is put this mill back together. I got to spin this thing around and put the DRO back on it. So this is easier said than done. As you can see here, I have clearance issues. So I have to move the mill out away from the wall. I need to clear things away from the wall in the back of the mill, and keep moving the mill away from the wall until I have clearance. Well, eventually I get the mill where I need it, so I have the proper clearance. I get the turret rotated into the original position from where I started. So I'm going to call this good. I'm not going to show putting this thing back together. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.